is your founding father, Alex Cooper, with Call Her Daddy.
Camila Cabello, welcome to Call Her Daddy.
Yes! I'm so excited.
I am so happy you're here. To anyone in the Daddy Gang that is listening to this and not watching.
The Daddy Gang.
The Daddy Gang. Do you want to say hi?
Oh my God, yes. Hello, Daddy Gang. I love the community aspect of it.
Would you consider your sister Daddy Gang?
Oh, 100%.
Okay, that makes
my
me feel
sister
cozy.
is Daddy Gang for sure.
I love how, can I say, your mom walked in here and she was like, don't worry, I'm not going to be listening.
I know, because I could just intuit, like I could read your energy that you were like, oh, her mom is here.
I'm like, what do I have in here that's sexual? Yeah. I'm like, just close your ears and pretend this isn't happening. To anyone that's listening, Camila walked in here and she has platinum blonde hair.
I know.
How did you decide to do this?
You know, I felt like I needed a big physical change because I feel like, I don't know, my dark hair has been with me for all of my life. I feel like it was just like a big part of how the public saw me, the world saw me, how I saw myself. And I feel like it's just been a year of like, the theme has very much been like play and transformation and changing and being brave. But I feel like also the music is so different, like the world is so different that, I don't know, for so many reasons, I was like, I feel like a physical change needs to like accompany that.
Yeah.
And then I tried on a few different wigs.
I was going to ask, because I was talking to someone like, would I ever change my hair color? I'm like, oh my God, I don't know if I would, but I would do wigs before you just go for it.
I definitely think you need to do wigs because it's such a big change. But I do feel like everybody should do it. I mean, not everybody should do it, but it's like a fun, like, I don't know, it brings out a different part of your personality. And it's like, I don't know, it's kind of like a YOLO, like, I don't know, just like,
fuck it.
Is it okay if I
please?
Should I take a sip?
Cheers.
Cheers.
We're drinking wine.
Okay,
everybody.
I need a little bit of wine because we were talking about, I don't really do stuff like this. So I definitely was like a little nervous, but I'm really excited for like my fans. I feel like they like haven't seen me be a person in a while.
Okay, wait, cheers.
Cheers.
I'm going to look over and Camila's going to be chugging the entire thing. Like, yeah, what? Wait, slow down. No.
Yeah, it's 1 p.m.
Yes. For context, it's 1 in the afternoon and the sun is out and we're drinking wine.
But so honestly, I haven't drank in a second. I've been working so much. I feel like I kind of deserve. You've had a really busy schedule too. You told me yesterday.
I was doing meetings with foils in my head.
No,
like, what are we doing?
We deserve this.
That's what I get excited about for these type of interviews, that you haven't done something like this in a while.
And years, I feel like.
And I think it's important though to sometimes like step back. Like, why do you think you haven't done something in a while?
I think it was just, I needed to kind of protect myself from, I actually wouldn't even say protect myself. I think I needed to just be a human being. I needed to be a person. I needed to kind of step away from being a public persona and just work on myself from the inside out as opposed to like the outside in. I mean, I've been in the public eye since I was 15 years old. So I feel like so much of, especially the first maybe 7 or 8 years, I was like kind of figuring myself out at the same time as like trying to process and take in what other people thought. Even if I'm not necessarily reading it directly, you just kind of subconsciously are trying to figure out what to do with all of that. So I don't know. I think I needed some time and some space to be like, who am I? What's important to me? What are my values in that sense, but also like, what are my hobbies? What do I like to do? What's my taste in art? What kind of people do I like hang out with? What kind of people do I not like hanging out with? And I feel like that's kind of the journey I've been on for the past few years. And it's been really nice and healthy for me. I feel like I really kind of needed to do that.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Let's talk about you growing up for a second. Okay.
You're like, cheers.
Cheers again.
My God, to exploring childhood.
We're going to go through all the eras.
Yeah, the origin myth.
Okay. Born in Cuba.
Yeah.
you moved to Miami when you're like 7.
Yeah, it's so funny because I always say 6 or 7. My mom is like, you have to like pick an age.
Right, like which was it?
Yeah,
You're
I'm like, I
don't know.
moved when I was 6 or 7. And when I was 6 or 7, it's like, I always say that.
So 6 or 7.
Yeah.
Camila moves to Miami. Can you tell me, like, how did your parents explain to you that you were moving?
My mom told me we were going to Disney World.
Oh.
As immigrant parents do. They lied to protect us. I love my mom so much. She's not watching, so I don't have to worry about hurting her feelings on that one.
Hi, Mom.
Hey, Mom. But yeah, she told me we were going to Disney World, and I was really excited until maybe a couple months passed, and I was like, wait a second. I'm still here, and there's no Disney World. And yeah, it's funny. Like I really empathize with that, that age, that version of me, because I can imagine that it's probably informed some parts of my personality in the sense that like one day I had like all my cousins and all my family around, and the next day, not to like whatever, like a pity sob story or whatever, but one day they were there, and then the next day I was kind of like, oh, where is everybody? I actually had this song that I wrote that didn't end up making it into the album, but like so many empty chairs for like Christmas dinner or whatever. It was like some like lyric like that. But I think that's such a like visceral image that I can remember. It's like a lot of noise. And then it was like just me and my mom.
Why did you guys move?
I think it was just the situation in Cuba was getting more and more difficult, like lack of there was just like such a ceiling, like as far as like, my mom was an architect, and even if you had a good job, there was just like there was like not a lot of resources, like even like food, medicine, education. Like, I don't think a lot of people know, like the situation there is like really, it's pretty tough, especially right now. Like there's not a lot of food. I have family members that have come even like a month ago that are still coming, and they see like the food that we have like in the pantry, and they're like, we're just like not used to this. And I think that's like what's amazing too about Miami and the community there is like, I think because everybody has those common like start from nothing thing, like it really is like, hey, like if you don't have a job, like I've got this uncle, I got this cousin, like you come work for me. You don't know how to do this. Well, it's fine. I'll teach you, whatever. And everybody's just kind of like
helping each other
and also just like helping each other improvise. And we're constantly like trying to like bring our family over. So
I think even when you were saying the like 6 or 7 age, I think at that
the
time,
new age, 6 or 7.
Yeah, new age,
one word.
6 or 7.
I came when I was 6 or 7.
When you were 6 or 7, I'm thinking about you moving to having to go to a new school, moving to a new country, probably not completely speaking English.
Oh no, not at all.
At all. How did you
no speaking.
How did you make friends? Like what was school like?
I really made friends. It's crazy to think about. Like in hindsight, I made my best friends through music always. I was always like, my first friend that I made, her name was Giselle, and we lived in like an apartment complex. She lived in the same complex as me, and we bonded over like the Cheetah Girls. I wanted to be them so bad, and I loved like Cinderella, like that. It's actually crazy how much I am realizing a lot of these things came to be in my life.
You manifested this
shit,
I know.
Bitch. I really
okay.
manifested the shit out of like my fucking life.
Then you were Cinderella.
Yeah, I know. And I was in a girl group. But anyway, so like we would, like I would bring the CD or whatever, and we would like just dance to it and pretend like we were in a girl group. And then like, when I was in elementary school, it was like we would pretend to be on American Idol. Fuck, I manifested that shit too, I guess. I'm realizing. And then we were like, I made a like mini girl group with my friends, and we were called Lion Girls, Queens of the Jungle, because I love the Cheetah Girls. Shit. That's not a like musician flex.
It's a huge
You're like,
flex.
that's a really good name.
I'm like, God damn. What
Yeah.
did you sound like back then?
And I remember like this one friend that I had, like my best friend, we would like, I remember during the summers, we would be on the phone, and we would like just be singing on the phone. Like, oh my God, I did like this, that riff sounds so good. Like everything was honestly really tied to music.
So you knew from a young age that you like loved performing.
I wouldn't even say performing, because I was really, really shy. It was like really reserved for my friends. And I remember my friends even say now, they're like, remember when we used to be like sing. Because I don't know if that was a thing for when
Yes.
it was your age, but I feel like anybody who was like, had like a good voice in school.
Yes.
It was like,
it was kind of like
sing.
and at the time it was like it was in such like good faith that people were trying
No,
to
it
but
was so
meanwhile
cute.
the person that is gonna have to sing feels like fuck all of you, I don't want to
know.
sing. So if I was to ask any of the kids that went to your school that weren't your friends, like, okay, Camila at 15 years old is going to become a huge pop star, famous, what do you think they would have said?
There were people that were like, I didn't even know that like she sang.
Stop.
Because I went through different phases. Like I think there was with some people that I was really funny and class clowny and whatever. And then for most people, I was like really shy.
Okay, let's talk about X Factor. So
Yes.
I'm reading online and I'm like, wait, is this true? I'm like, you said that you went on X Factor first to just meet One Direction.
This is true. I mean,
Tell me the plan. Like, what was the plan going in there?
I mean, honestly, I was a huge, I don't know if I'm curious if you were too, but I was like, you know, like I was like such a big pop culture fan. Like,
yes.
Since I was young, and my friends and I really bonded over that. Like we didn't love fucking One Direction. We loved One Direction.
One Direction.
Yeah, we loved One Direction.
We wanted to fuck One Direction.
100%. I mean, at that age, we just I wanted to just kiss them.
Kiss.
Just anything. But yeah, even if at an early age, I wasn't like, I want to be a singer, because I think it just wasn't even a thing that I thought of. Like, it was like, bitch, how? Like,
right.
You know, like
how will this be a career?
Yeah, like I don't have anybody that knows anybody. I'm like in Miami, like nobody fucking, the most that we had was, I don't know if you remember, like when that like person would come on the radio and be like, auditions for Nickelodeon.
Yes.
Do you want to be the next Selena Gomez, Justin Bieber? And all my friends and I would be like, yes!
And it's like, there's no way, bitch. Like, everyone sit down.
I
just so you know, I was one of those girls too, being like, yes.
Did you audition?
No, I couldn't
All of my
sing.
friends and I auditioned, and they were like, you are amazing. You're only going to have to pay $15,000 to go to this acting school. And my mom was like, yeah,
bye.
Yeah, scam. But that was like, in hindsight, it was always the center of my life was music and singing and writing and whatever. It was always like my obsession. And I think like One Direction or pop culture was like an extension of that in a different way, in a more probably hormonal, crushy way. But
relatable.
But I really was like, I need to audition to X Factor, and I need to do whatever it takes to make it to at least the point where I meet Harry. Really, all of them, but like
Harry.
But really Harry. So, yeah.
Poor everyone else. It was always Harry. Then like Zayn really popped off. And like I've met him in person. Great guy. Like I was like, oh, okay. Like
no, and Niall is so lovely too. He's like amazing. But it's just
Harry. It's Harry.
I was like, I really, really, he was an inspiring muse for me at 15.
When you talk about a guy when you're younger that you were obsessed with, like it does
sickness.
It brings you back. Like I kind of had that with Justin Bieber, where you're like,
I was also obsessed with Justin Bieber.
And I'm like, I want to be the one less lonely girl. Like, shut up, Alex.
It's crazy
like,
how delusional you are at that age.
You
like,
believe.
No, you believe that you're meant to fall in love, that they don't know that you are the girl for them. Like, they don't know it. But once they do, there will be no stopping that train. It's crazy how delusional you are at that age.
Did you ever do this? Like, I remember I'd be at concerts and I'm like, if he just locks eyes
with
me.
Me too. Me too. I'd be like, I remember like going to the concert being like, I have to look incredible. Because for some reason I thought me at 15 years old with like my like insanely terrible like side bang and like, you know, like that he would lock eye and then he would know for some reason. It's crazy. I still have some of that delusion left in me now.
I think it's good delusion though, right?
It's fun. It keeps things spicy.
It does. On your toes, you know?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Just like wanting things you can't have.
No, delusion is a necessary ingredient, I think, to like my happiness. But I definitely had way more at 15. I definitely was like, once he sees me, he's dumping Kendall Jenner.
So
He will know.
He won't even know. He won't even know what hit him. When our eyes lock,
Yeah.
it's like game over, baby. Wifey, okay?
And then I look pictures of myself at that age and I'm like, oh my God,
Sweetie.
like I look like such a baby. Like
it was never going to happen.
Never gonna happen.
But you joined Fifth Harmony. And obviously you
Yes.
don't join One Direction, although you probably wanted to be like the one girl in the group.
But I joined what felt to me like at that time. Like I was like,
Yes.
oh my God.
Yes.
This is happening to me now.
God, no, that's actually so crazy. Like you were becoming like the female version of the new One Direction.
Yeah, I mean, like I remember when we were at X Factor and they started like calling our names up, I was like, I know this fucking story. I have seen it.
Obviously, there was a lot of drama when you walked away from the group.
Yeah.
And now that like time has passed and you look back at everything, like how do you feel about how everything went down?
I feel like I'm like can really focus on and remember the really joyful times. And, you know, I grew a lot in that group. And I remember waking up on tour and going to my hotel room at like 7 a.m. and going to my garage band and like writing songs because I didn't want to like, you know, do it while everybody was there. And I just like, I had such a passion for that turned into writing. And at first I was like, oh, maybe like I want to write for other people. But then it turned into like, no, actually like I want to sing these songs by myself. And I started just like distancing myself from, I feel like, the group vision. And it felt like, you know, they were still like really passionate and into that. And so I just was like, I'm not happy here anymore. Like it doesn't feel aligned. You know?
I think also like that's so okay. And I think there's two parts of it. One, people can look back and be heartbroken that something breaks up. So understandable, similar to One Direction.
Of course it is. Like, oh my God. Yeah,
but
it is.
It's kind of necessary to grow.
It's like any breakup. Like, yeah, it sucks.
Yes, which we're going to get into. Okay. So I'm thinking back, you joined this group at 15 and I'm thinking about like you were in it for 4 years. That's basically like a high school experience. Like,
oh my
God,
like, yes it is.
Crazy. You're a celebrity at such a young age. You're touring, you're busy. Did you have time to date? How did you meet guys? What was the vibe?
When I was 15 to 19, it was like guys that, you know, maybe like not a lot, like a few. And it was very like we saw each other maybe once or twice a year. I really started dating and whatever, like probably when I was like 20.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
because before that, it was just like the group was like all encompassing.
That was your relationship.
That was my relationship. Yeah.
I feel like everyone remembers their first love. I remember mine. I feel like you can kind of never be the same after it because it teaches you so much. And it is, you experience so many firsts with this person. What comes to your mind when you think of like
my first love? My first love was, I feel like I've had a few, maybe a couple great loves.
Okay.
How about you?
I think I've had a couple as well. I think it's interesting because now that I'm engaged, I look back on it and
I like that wasn't.
Well, it's interesting. It's like, it's different. And I talk about this with Matt all the time. And I'm so happy that we have a healthy enough relationship to talk about exes and not be like insecure about it, which I would have been insecure in past relationships to talk about exes. But when I think about being in love, I definitely can pinpoint like the first person I was in love with that I met when I was like 16, and it was just this like all-encompassing.
Oh God,
just,
yeah,
like,
me too.
Wrecks you.
Me too. And 17 was probably my first. Like really in love. I don't know. It's like there's so many different connotations to in love though, because sometimes it's like who was I happiest with, or who made me the most devastated. And sometimes it's like, God, what even is the right definition of in love? Because there were people there was, you know, one person that made me the happiest. And there was the other person that made me the most sick and crazy.
Right.
And I don't know what is the definition of like, what's the most in love, you know?
It's a good point. It's like, I feel like when I look back, I agree with you. All of my loves are different.
Yeah.
But it's also just so fucking weird because you are so different. And I think of like what I was giving maybe in my first love. Like I was definitely not someone bringing health and wellness to the relationship.
Oh
like,
my God.
It was like fighting and writing letters and like that it was like that Notebook type of love where it's like so fucking hard and devastating. You're just like, fuck my life. But when you leave those type of relationships, I feel like it leaves the biggest lasting memory for a while because it was so hard and you fought so much and it was so loving but then difficult that like you can kind of romanticize it once you leave. Where the people that left you happy, and if it was more stable, I have found it was easier to move on from, just because I can like kind of put it in a corner of my brain and be like, that was so great, but I know it wasn't meant to be. I don't know if that makes sense.
No, totally. I mean, I think like there is a part of me that still, it depends what mood I'm in. Sometimes I really want peace and happiness, and other times I still miss and love that chaotic, sickening feeling. And I don't know what that is. I have to explore it further in therapy. But there is something like so kind of like addictive about that. And you know, it's interesting because it's like, you know, it's like the classic like nervous system quote, like whatever. I mean, actually, I don't know why I said classic, because it's not a classic. Classic.
But it's relatable.
You know, that quote is like, find someone that's good for your nervous system.
Yes.
A lot of the times, the people that do make you feel fucking sick with love are not good for your nervous system.
But it's addictive.
But it feels so good and terrible at the same time.
Because when it's good, it's so fucking good.
Because when it's good, it's like, you could cut my leg off today. I will be smiling all teeth, you know?
But when it's bad, and I think this is what's so interesting, when it is bad, and I think back to those type of relationships, there's something like that makes you feel even more romantic about it, because it's like we're fighting, we're working, we're like
totally.
It's just, it is kind of convoluted, and there are some relationships that take a lot of work to then get to be good, or there are just a lot of relationships that just shouldn't fucking work, but we put so much into them because it is addicting.
And it really changes, I feel like, as you age. Like, I feel like when I was younger, so many relationships were like my projection of people in my head.
Yes.
And I really romanticized the shit out of them. And I really took a little thing that they said and I just ran with that. Totally. You know? But now I find that it's like the people that you meet that are like really exciting and how you have real chemistry with, it's rare and hard to find.
It is so fucking hard to find. I find like the first couple hangouts, you will kind of be able to just gauge like if it's there, because I'm not someone that's as much of like a slow burn type of person.
I am not a slow burn. And what sucks is that I hear that that's the healthiest thing. No. It's like, I've heard podcasts where people are like, if you kind of like this person and if you're curious, just go on a second date. And I'm just the kind of person that's like, if I am not like going to sleep, like wanting to have you inside me. Like
no, I get it.
Honestly, that's extreme. Maybe not that. But if I don't leave the date and I'm like, wow, it's really hard for me to have that slow burn approach, but I'm trying to be more like that. I think it's just...
I agree. I also just want to validate you because it's not extreme what you just said. I think when I've left first dates, you want to like, I know it sounds fucking crazy, but this is a girl podcast, so everyone girl will get it. You leave and you can like literally quickly go through like picturing yourself in like positions with them and places, positions physically and like places in life, and just like kind of quickly the next year with them, and you're like picturing like the next date and your sexual chemistry.
It's disgusting.
You can kind of envision it. And then if I can't with someone, it's hard to go on the second date.
I know, but a lot of people say like you should, and you know, and
fuck us.
Yeah, I know. You're
like, God damn it.
It's interesting, but
so you're single.
I love it.
You're
I am.
single.
Yeah.
What is single Camila like? What is single Camila like?
Okay. I try to really prioritize that part of my life.
Okay.
Because it just makes me feel, it's just so fun.
Yeah.
I honestly love being single. I love it. But I've been in relationships for a lot of since I started dating. Like since I started dating when I was 20, I was in long-term relationships a lot. So it feels fun to just like get to know people and like talk and like see what happens.
Yeah. Those beginning stages are like
beginning stage also my weakness, because I love a beginning stage. It's so fun.
It's so good. It's, I think, why I had such a hard time getting into serious relationships for a while, because the thrill and the excitement and the unknown is so fun. And then once it becomes like predictable, I used to be like, bye. But
I feel that
when you get older again, like you start to realize there can be a balance.
And you start to realize there are other things that are important. Like you can go deeper, and that's surprising. And, you know, at the end of the day, it's like we're people that are, I really believe like we're never just one person. We are constantly changing. Like Matt could be a different person in 2 years. He will be a new person. Yeah. And so there's always something new.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But I do feel like I'm like, I think also because I was just in like a heavy like, you know, like writing stage. It's really experiences. I'm just like so hungry for experiences. Like the more experiences,
the better.
The better.
Okay, so one experience you had recently that we all saw online was you were on a vacation with Drake.
Oh gosh. Well, you know what?
I have to ask. I can't not ask.
Yeah, of course. Of course.
Have you guys ever been a thing?
Well, first of all, I wouldn't say like straight up vacation.
Okay.
It was vacation plus some work.
Oh.
God.
Oh, wait. The whole internet just broke.
So it was vacation plus some work. But I will say, you know what? I love that man. I love him.
We all love that man.
We all love him, right?
The internet really loved him recently.
Yeah. I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, so have you ever had, can we confirm or no?
Have I ever had what?
Like a little thing with Drake.
A beautiful artistic collaboration with him?
Yes.
I may or may not have.
What is it like going on vacation with Drake?
Okay, first of all, we did not go on vacation.
Like the two.
This was like a homie, like friends trip. Okay. So let me break this down.
Rewind.
Okay.
Rewind.
So basically, Drake was a big love him as an artist for real.
Me too.
Love him as like right.
Yes.
He's the best.
Yes.
Who the goat? I love him so much, and I really listened to him a lot during my writing process, during my album. And I really felt like he would like my album.
Love.
For real.
Confident. Fucking love it.
And so I DM'd him, and I was like, hey, I really want to play. I was like, you know what? I'm just going to put it out there.
That's fucking baller.
We gotta make shit happen.
You gotta make shit happen.
We gotta make shit happen. So I DM'd him, and I was like, I would love to play you my album. I honestly feel like you would really love it because, you know, because I listen to him a lot, and I just feel like I really do feel like musically in a lot of ways we like the same things, and I feel, So we hung out. I played him my album.
What'd he say?
He loved it.
Okay.
I thought that he would, and I was like so excited. It was also such a surreal moment for me to like play Drake my songs and like,
dude,
you know, that's
insane.
Another one of those things that you're just like, wow, I would have never expected.
It's like
that this would happen.
A dream.
It's a dream.
Like,
it's a dream. I remember being there and being like, wow, this is like so fucking sick. Right. And he's so generous and so kind. But anyway, so I didn't like just go on vacation with him. It was like a vacation, like work thing. But honestly, I will say I love him. And that has been such a fun part about this whole experience. Like this has been it's been a really insular process in terms of like me taking it back to basics, in terms of like me like really focusing on like, you know, my craft of writing or whatever. But at the same time, literally I could chug this whole thing right now, but like huge toast to that. And he's amazing and I love him.
Let's do a toast to Drake.
Toast to Drake. To Champagne Poppy.
God bless. Yeah, we all love you.
God bless. We really do love you.